Well, Donald Trump, as we already covered, delivered a speech in Las Vegas yesterday. And I'm going to show you what I want to get to, what I'm excited about talking about, and it's not aggravating, is The View responding, okay? Whoopi Goldberg and the others responding to Trump's speech and making fun of him for it, rightfully so. But in the alternate universe version of events, Trump was coherent. And this is, of course, the alternate universe that's depicted on Fox News. And he was an average guy, showing that he's just like you. Because when he doesn't have a teleprompter, he can just talk off the cuff. It happens to be deranged. He happens to say that he doesn't care about the voters in front of him. He happens to go on a wild rant about being electrocuted or a shark getting you. And he has all these glitches where his shoulder twitches. But he's a regular guy when he's off the teleprompter, according to Fox News. So before we get to The View, we'll sort of contrast the coverage of the same event from The View and from Fox News. And this is the Fox News version of what took place. Again, if you haven't seen already, you can check out my segment on that speech. But I will say, the clip that's being referenced, the electrocution clip, that'll be played during the View's coverage.
Well, bottom line, that moment by Trump, as you said, I love that you said it showed us who he is. He's a normal, average American. He did great without the teleprompter. And what we saw play out, that was state TV.
I'm trying. For the both of our sakes. Click the subscribe button.
Right? That's everyone getting in line and making sure. Nothing to see here, guys. You didn't see anything. Biden's the best.
Yeah. Sometimes the teleprompter.
Why do you do that? Why? It showed us who he is, as if we need to be shown who he is anymore. He's a normal, average American. Because most normal, average Americans, I guess she's saying, can't get through a sentence like Trump couldn't? Well, that's insulting, Miss Fox host. Take that back. Or is she referring to who Trump really is? Have most average Americans stolen classified documents? Here we go. You know where I'm going. Get ready for this list. Have most average Americans called for the termination of the Constitution? Have most average Americans tried to block the peaceful transfer of power through allegedly illegal means? Have most average Americans been found civilly liable for rape? Have most average Americans been convicted on 34 felony counts? I'll stop there, but you get the point. We could do it all day. Here's the next moment.
And over at MSNBC, it wasn't just Trump's reaction to the teleprompter. They were apparently appalled over his off-script remarks. Watch.
Some would call that completely unfit to deal with the challenges as the leader of the free world. Just completely unfit. Not trying to be flip, not trying to be funny. That was just disturbing and kind of crazy talk of a guy who did not know what to say when his prompter failed.
And over at MSNBC, it wasn't just Trump's reaction to the teleprompter.
And you'll notice there, as Asen pointed out, Fox won't show what MSNBC's reacting to in this clip, which was the shark boat electrocution part of Trump's speech. I wonder why. And Fox will do this. They'll talk about Trump's speech. They might show some really selective clips from a Trump speech, but then they'll cut to the liberal reaction without showing the parts that the liberals were responding to. So it'll be, we'll give you the best cuts of Trump, and we have to chop those up to make it seem like he's talking normally. And then after showing you that, we'll pretend like the left was mad about those moments, and then we'll operate in this fantasy world where Trump just delivered this guy's guy, everyman type of speech, and he nailed it. He didn't need teleprompters. And the left said he's unfit to be president because of that. Isn't that just so unfair? Gosh, those liberals. Now, before getting to The View, one more moment from the same edition of, I think it's Outnumbered, maybe. Just very strange.
Now he's going back and we're talking world leaders, we're talking money, we're talking arms, we're talking serious
minor
negotiations.
incursions.
And I'm really worried about how the United States is going to be portrayed in these G7 meetings. Because if they see more weakness from our president, they're going to see us as weak as a country, and I'm concerned about that.
Yeah.
Well, they love them because they get what they want. They don't have to pay up.
Right.
So,
Well,
The Why? Why do you do this job if you're not gonna know what you're talking about? Doesn't make sense. G7, they're not gonna pay up. What are they supposed to pay up? The G7 is an economic organization that we're in. They're not supposed to pay us anything. Doesn't make any sense. But they're never paying up under Biden. Trump's gonna make NATO people pay up, even though it's their own defense spending that they're supposed to be spending more on. Or here, G7, they gotta pay their bills to the United States. Gosh. Here is Whoopi Goldberg with a much better response to that speech.
When a candidate makes a public appearance, they usually lay out their vision for the future and the policies they'll put in place. But then there's you-know-who. He held his first campaign rally since his conviction, and I think it was the 110-degree heat in Vegas that really got to him. Take a look.
I'm up here sweating like a dog. Secret Service said, we have to make sure everyone's safe. I said, what about me? Oh, we never thought of that. Are the teleprompters not working? So not even a little bit. Great job. And then I don't pay the company that does it, right? And then I end up with a story Trump doesn't pay. I don't pay contractors that do a job. And that's a job. You're in the boat and you have this tremendously powerful battery. And the battery's now underwater. And there's a shark that's approximately 10 yards over there. The boat is sinking. Do I stay on top of the boat and get electrocuted? Or do I jump over by the shark and not get electrocuted? I'll take electrocution every single time. I'm not getting near the shark.
What?
Okay. See, y'all always concerned that I'm smoking something. What's he smoking? My God. So a few days earlier, he hinted that he'd make payback a policy during a very bizarre interview with Dr. Phil. Take a look.
I know you got a thick skin. You're not one of those people.
All right, and I'll play a little bit more of that in a second, Dr. Phil. Just really, I try to limit myself, but now I'm realizing how often I'm adding that caveat, so maybe I'm not limiting myself. Oh, no. On these sorts of remarks, but I'm just getting bad vibes from Dr. Phil, okay? That's where I'll leave it. Just bad vibes. But, yeah, Trump, you know what that reminded me of from Trump? That would I rather get electrocuted from the battery in a boat or get eaten by a shark? It reminded me of y'all remember Herschel Walker? Herschel Walker, when he ran for Senate in Georgia. That was quite a saga. And now it's just a thing of the past. He got on a rant about which you'd rather be. A Wolverine? Not a Wolverine. What was it? A werewolf. That's what it was. A werewolf or a vampire? Which one's better? A werewolf or a vampire? And he had this whole thing. I wish I'd pulled that clip. It was very bizarre. Obama mocked him nicely for it. That's what that little rant reminded me of, but here's more.
That's afflicted with the need to be loved by strangers. I get that.
I think that's true.
You're a billionaire. You got a great family. You're a very dedicated father. People may not see this in you a lot because you keep that kind of private. You have so much to do. You don't have time to get even. You only have time to get right.
Well, revenge does take time, I will say that.
It does.
And sometimes revenge can be justified, Phil. I have to be honest.
No,
sometimes it can.
But is the country better or worse for them going after you?
I think the country is really worse for what they've done.
I don't know what is going on. I don't know.
And that's a perfect place to leave it. True. I don't. What? Also, the softball interview, not to return to our good friend Philium, Dr. Philium. That's not the full thing of Phil, is it? No, surely not. But he really. Why'd you need to do that? People knew you for one thing. You don't have to do this weird softball interview. You are just so busy. Such a good dad. Sometimes I wish you would be my dad. And you don't have time to get revenge, you know? Go ahead and tell everyone that you don't have time to do revenge because people are mad at you for that. And Trump goes, revenge takes time. And then Dr. Phil is on board with it. Yeah, you're right. No, never mind. You do have time. I'm back on your side. Embarrassing. Let me know what you thought of all that in the comments. And if you want to get the daily bonus show, which is a whole episode of the show we do for our members Monday through Friday, you can get access to it by clicking the join button below.